This video right here, I'm going to be discussing Mr. Kennedy update, news on Dragon Gate signing a pay-per-view deal, which is definitely big news for me. Glad that's finally happened. Some WWE news with a little confusion between the media with the whole Donald Trump thing, him buying out Raw as far as a storyline purpose goes. I obviously gave my thoughts on that, but the whole media story, I just want to give my thoughts on that. And a couple other things with some wrestlers' thoughts on the whole Vicky Guerrero leaving WWE and how that was played off on TV. Hernandez will be returning soon, and a couple other things I'll probably throw in there as well. Before I get into that, I just want y'all to check out one YouTube user that makes very good videos, Cool Nerd 2736. Definitely, if you haven't heard of him, definitely check out his channel. I'll put the link in the description right over there. He makes good videos. Pretty much does wrestling videos. He's kind of going in a different direction right now. He's going to be doing like 1 or 2 wrestling videos a week than other type of, random videos like the video game reviews, talk about music and other stuff, and maybe current events and stuff like that. So definitely check him out. He makes good videos. And now let me get into my thoughts. First, let me start with the WWE news. First thing being is after the whole Donald Trump thing this past Monday, I already gave my thoughts on it, what I thought about it. I thought it was idiotic, ratings ploy. But the one thing that came pretty funny out of this whole thing is really priceless, that a lot of media outlets actually, I guess because of USA Networks and Vince McMahon, they sent out press releases of the whole Donald Trump buying Monday Night Raw, and they made it seem so real within the I guess the press release that a lot of media outlets picked up the story as it actually being Donald Trump actually purchased some part within WWE and not thinking this is a wrestling storyline. And that's really the funniest thing right here is all these media outlets always demonize wrestling. They always talk bad about wrestling. They talk bad about wrestling fans. They say wrestling fans are idiotic, yet these media outlets are the ones that are so fucking stupid that they don't even know when a wrestling angle is a wrestling angle. I mean, how many people out of probably anyone that was watching Monday Night Raw and heard about this whole Donald Trump thing didn't think it was a wrestling angle? I'm okay. Now there are some dumbass wrestling fans. Trust me, there's about probably 10 to 15% of wrestling fans, or maybe even 20% are idiotic wrestling fans. But I would say at least 80% of people at least know when an angle is an angle, even if they don't follow wrestling news sites or stuff like that. At least people know it's a wrestling angle. I'm pretty sure everyone knew this was a wrestling angle. I mean, who in their right minds would actually thought this wasn't a wrestling angle? Yet these media outlets are so stupid to actually fall for this. But yet these media outlets fall for all these reality shows actually being reality and not being scripted. So I guess it doesn't take too much to fool a lot of media outlets. Apparently there was one media outlet, and now it hasn't been named by name what media outlet this was, but apparently one media outlet was really heated over this and really pissed off that they got fooled by this being a wrestling storyline angle, that they actually said that we're not going to report anything on WWE anymore or give WWE any mention at all. So obviously someone really got pissed off here. I'm guessing it probably is like ABC, maybe CBS or CNN, because there are a lot of media outlets that did pick this whole Donald Trump thing up, and I'm pretty sure everyone picked it up in a way jokingly, okay, Donald Trump buys WWE, but how many people were that fucking stupid? So that's, shows you that the media outlets that demonize wrestling are really the ones that are so idiotic, not really the wrestling fans most of the time. And right now, WWE is unsure of what they're going to do with CM Punk. Now, this is pertaining to him being either a babyface or a heel. Now, it's been stated as far as Vince McMahon and the creative staff, they're saying pretty much his match that he's going to be having with Jeff Hardy for the World Heavyweight Championship and defending the championship on that pay-per-view, the Bash, coming up on June 28th. That match right there is pretty much going to be the match to determine whether CM Punk is going to be a full-fledged heel, a tweener, or a babyface, or whatnot. Now within this, I'm obviously expecting within this match, especially since so many fans, love Jeff Hardy, and Jeff Hardy's so over, I'm expecting CM Punk to get a heelish type reaction at the Bash pay-per-view and, slowly build him up to being a full-fledged heel. I would say, they'll still be kind of teasing it, whether he's a babyface or heel, probably for another month. I'm saying by the time of SummerSlam, he'll still be world champion, and they'll have him be full-fledged heel by that point. which will be very good. If any of you that aren't familiar with CM Punk's work in Ring of Honor and his stuff he did, you know, as far as when he was Ring of Honor champion for about a little over 2 months, that was great heel stuff he did right there. And most of his Ring of Honor career, he was a heel anyways. CM Punk, he has been good as a face within WWE, but he hasn't really got to his full potential with WWE if he was a heel. Now, if they really pull the trigger and have him go full-fledged heel, CM Punk could be a really top star within WWE and really one of the big heels right now. Now, the one thing that you're going to have to think about with him turning full-fledged heel, you're going to have either Chris Jericho or Edge turn face. Now, obviously, Chris Jericho's out of the question. You're not going to turn him face anytime soon. Now, Edge, they did the whole thing on Monday Night Raw, not this past Monday, but the Monday Night Raw before, where Vicky Guerrero quit on screen, and they did something where Edge kind of, you know, got somewhat of a face reaction with him pretty much saying it's over with him and Vicky Guerrero. And speaking of the whole Vicky Guerrero thing, apparently a lot of wrestlers backstage were upset, or at least a little pissed off at the way that WWE handled Vicky Guerrero's goodbye on WWE television, because a lot of people didn't like the way they did her booked her the last night she was there. And apparently a lot of people aren't. This is kind of like, you know, just speculation, but if you look at it, this past Monday Night Raw, you didn't really hear any mention. Well, you heard mention of Vicky Guerrero no longer being the GM and quitting, but you really didn't see them replay the whole segment where, you know, Edge said it was over, and the whole thing they did at the end where she pretty much quit on live national television. And then obviously after that was the storyline part. Then the day later, she obviously gave her notice to WWE, and she was gone from WWE. She's gone from WWE in real life as well. Okay, and another thing I want to talk about as far as WWE, this is probably the last WWE topic that I'm going to be discussing. This is this coming at the Bash pay-per-view coming up on June 28th. You're going to have the return of the Scramble match, which I think is a good idea. I think the only problem they had with it when they did it last year at the Unforgiven pay-per-view, which that was the last Unforgiven pay-per-view, because if you haven't heard, they renamed the pay-per-view Unforgiven to Breaking Point, and apparently that pay-per-view is rumored to be an all-submission pay-per-view, which would have worked probably back in the day when you had, you know, the likes of Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle, and a couple others like Brock Lesnar. But nowadays, you really don't have too many wrestlers within WWE that can actually go in there and, you know, perform a great submission match. You know, they kind of do it a little bit with Undertaker, a little bit. CM Punk can work that style. Christian and Jack Swagger, they both can work it. And I guess, you know, WWE, they would obviously, with the John Cena, even though he's not really a technical wrestler, but they'll obviously have him use the STFU as his submission hold finisher, obviously, and probably build him up like that. And Shawn Michaels, he does the sharpshooter in figure 4, but pretty much most wrestlers within WWE aren't really technical, so I'm expecting this pay-per-view. It sounds like an interesting idea if you had enough technical wrestlers within your company. Like this, the whole, you know, submission-based pay-per-view, this would probably work, you know, this would definitely work on the independent circuit and definitely work in Ring of Honor, since Ring of Honor has a lot of technical wrestlers. WWE, this is not going to work. This is pretty much going to flop. Now back to the whole Scramble match. They're going to have it for the ECW Championship at the Bash pay-per-view. It's going to be Tommy Dreamer defending the championship in a 5-way Scramble match with him, along with Jack Swagger, Christian Cage. Well, I mean Christian now, Mark Henry, and Finlay in this match as well. So this should be an interesting Scramble match right here. Other than Mark Henry, it really isn't no one in there that bad. Tommy Dreamer, he's actually been doing some decent stuff as ECW champion. Jack Swagger and Christian, they have great chemistry, so they'll obviously do some good stuff in here. And Finlay is a good veteran to have in there, so I don't have no problem him being in there. As long as Mark Henry don't win this match, I'm okay with it. And like I said, I like the idea of the Scramble match. Just if they want to, you know, keep doing the Scramble matches, just do like one a pay-per-view. I'm not saying do one every pay-per-view. I'm talking about if you do it, just do it one a pay-per-view instead of doing 3 a pay-per-view like they did at Unforgiven. Now, it was an interesting idea, but I don't think it really worked because, you know, you saw the same match 3 times in a row, and it wasn't as innovative as it could have been if you just saw it one time. So it's going to probably come off a little better at the Bash since you're only seeing one of them. And on a Mr. Kennedy update, or obviously now when his real name Ken Anderson. That's the name. He's probably most likely going to go under TNA. Apparently one person close to Ken Anderson has stated that Kennedy has stated that he will go to TNA after his 90-day non-compete clause is up. Now that is just speculation right now, and that's just hearsay, but obviously I do expect it to happen, especially, you know, since Kennedy's still, you know, keeping his name out there open in the internet wrestling world right now. Especially, you know, he's posted videos on his Facebook. If you haven't seen him, he did you know, one quick video blog that's a little over a minute, and did 2 other random videos. If you haven't seen those, I'll put the link of those in the description right over there if you haven't seen them. And obviously this is going to be a good thing for TNA to pick him up. You know, a lot of people know I'm not a huge fan of Kennedy, but just as long as he stays healthy and doesn't get injured, Kennedy does have the potential to be a top star in TNA, and could possibly be like the way Christian was in TNA, be there for 2 to 3 years, kind of build himself up, then come back to WWE, because I kind of see that's what Kennedy wants to do. He obviously wants to go there, prove Vince wrong, but yet wants to prove him wrong in a way that Vince McMahon in a few years down the line is going to want Kennedy back, so he can pretty much say, Vince, you're wrong about me. And definitely with TNA's road schedule, this will work worlds of good for Kennedy right here, especially since the road schedule, like I said, not as lengthy as WWE. Now they're starting to pick it up sometimes with house shows, but definitely nowhere near the level of what WWE does. And I'm pretty sure he can get a contract with TNA that make him be kind of like Sting, where he wouldn't have to do every house show, because a lot of, you know, some stars from WWE that get in TNA, they kind of get that little thing in their contract where if they don't want to do every house show, they actually got something in their contract they don't have to. So he wouldn't even necessarily have to do every house show, just do pay-per-views, TV, and some house shows here and there. And with that, he should be okay. And just as long as he stays healthy, like I said, he has the potential to be a very top star within TNA. Other TNA news is TNA star Hernandez, one half of LAX with Homicide, is actually going to be shockingly returning a whole lot earlier than many expected. He's already been cleared to return to the ring, obviously since Impact Tonight's taped, and then obviously you got Slammiversary this Sunday. Not going to see him probably return until the Impact tapings coming up next week, or right near the next Impact tapings. If they're, I don't know how many Impact tapings they're going to be doing this following, I guess, Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever they do the Impact tapings. So possibly maybe see the LAX return there. That'd be something good. Have them go against Beer Money, because I am expecting Beer Money to win the TNA Tag Team Championships at Slammiversary. It would really shock me if they don't. Now on to the biggest news story, at least the one news subject that I'm most happy for, and this is Dragon Gate USA, the Dragon Gate company, the expansion they had to the United States. That version of Dragon Gate is actually going to be getting a pay-per-view. They actually had a pay-per-view deal, 6 pay-per-view deal, bi-monthly, like Ring of Honor's pay-per-view deal with the same company. Ring of Honor has their pay-per-view deals with G-Funk Sports and Entertainment. Now this is going to be interesting to see what happens here with Ring of Honor pay-per-views, because if many of you probably don't already know, or you might not even know at all, that Take No Prisoners, this past Ring of Honor pay-per-view they aired last Friday, was actually Ring of Honor's last pay-per-view under the G-Funk Sports Entertainment deal that they had at that point. Now they might sign another extension down the line, or get another pay-per-view deal with another company, especially since you know, it looks like Dragon Gate obviously still going to have, you know, a working agreement with Ring of Honor, because actually the second pay-per-view, the first pay-per-view, which is going to be called Enter the Dragon, is going to be airing on pay-per-view September 4th on all pretty much all cable outlets and satellite outlets. I know it's on In Demand. DirecTV, not sure about it. I'm pretty sure Dish does get it, but I know In Demand gets it, so that's one good thing right there. Another pay-per-view, another wrestling pay-per-view from a different company that's not WWE or TNA, just more alternatives right there. That's good to see. Like I said, the pay-per-view taping for this pay-per-view is going to be called Enter the Dragon. It's going to be taped July 25th of this year. It's going to be taped in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So if you live in the Philadelphia area, it's going to be at the ECW Arena, or now known just the Arena. It's going to be there. And if you have never seen Dragon Gate and you just want to, you know, check it out, I would definitely recommend you to check it out. If you like the X Division style of TNA and you like that fast-paced action, you haven't seen anything yet. If you think TNA is fast-paced and you think the X Division is very innovative, you haven't seen anything yet if you haven't seen Dragon Gate. So definitely glad Dragon Gate got a deal right here. And the second pay-per-view taping is going to be taping 2 days after the first pay-per-view airs. Like I said, the first pay-per-view is going to air September 4th, and the second pay-per-view taping is going to be on September 6th of this year, and it's going to be in Chicago, Illinois. And it's going to be in the venue Congress Theater. So if you live in the Chicagoland area, that is where the second pay-per-view for Dragon Gate is going to be happening at. So I would definitely recommend you, if you live in the Philadelphia area or live in the Chicago area, for either one of the pay-per-views, I would definitely recommend you to go to the shows. If you never checked Dragon Gate out, definitely check it out. For the July 25th show, they got all the first 4 rows sold out. 5th row still available, in general admissions obviously still available as well for pretty good prices. The 5th row seats are only $30, and the general admission is $20. And you can check more information out on Dragon Gate at dgusa.tv. I'll put the link in the description, as well as the video, as well as the link for the Kennedy videos if you haven't seen those yet. So this is definitely great news right here for Puro fans and Dragon Gate fans. Finally, Dragon Gate's getting a pay-per-view deal, and right now they got 4 matches signed for it. Two main events. One of them is going to be Dragon Kid versus Masato Yoshino. That should be excellent. You got Naruki Doi versus Shingo. Them two have had very good matches in the past with each other. You're going to get a showcase from Chikara. You're going to have a Chikara 8-man tag on here. And you're going to have a tag team challenge match with the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson, teaming up to take on CIMA and Suma Yokosuka. I probably butchered that name, but sorry right there, but that should be a very good tag team match. The Young Bucks are a very innovative tag team. If you haven't seen them before, a lot of people, after you see them first, you're going to kind of, compare them with kind of an old school Hardys mixed with the Rockers and a little of this generation of high-flying wrestling as well. And I think they're a very good tag team. And definitely glad Ring of Honor started using them. They just worked the last 2 Ring of Honor shows, the June 12th show in Manassas, Virginia, a match against Steen and Generico. Steen and Generico obviously went over in that match, but still they sounded like they had a very good show, and definitely from the fans' reaction of the way they were used that night, definitely a lot of welcome back chants. Kind of got the same thing the following night when they defeated Kenny King and Rhett Titus. So definitely glad that Ring of Honor is bringing in another tag team. This is a tag team that I think really would benefit Ring of Honor very good with. I think this is a tag team that definitely deserves to be on the full-time roster. So like I said, just wanted to come on here, give my thoughts on wrestling. Just want to give my thoughts on the Mr. Kennedy to TNA rumors that are going on right now. Well, not really. I'm calling them rumors until I actually see them pop in TNA, even though it's pretty much confirmed from one person very close to Kennedy that he's most likely going to be joining TNA. Hernandez, glad he's healed up and he's going to be returning very soon, probably right at the Impact tapings next week. Hopefully him and Homicide team back up and they'll do some good stuff with LAX, because they've kind of, haven't really done much since, lockdown, since I think that was the last pay-per-view Hernandez was at, and especially since I think he got neck surgery. He's definitely returning very quick. Hopefully he's not returning too quick that he's going to re-injure himself really quick. Hopefully he's healed up enough, but doctors have cleared him, so it must be okay. And the whole Donald Trump and the whole media thing that happened, kind of hilarious. Just wanted to kind of get my thoughts on that. And definitely the biggest news subject was, for me, other than the Kennedy to TNA, which a lot of people are probably looking forward to that, Dragon Gate's getting the pay-per-view, so that's definitely great news right there. And I would definitely recommend you, if you can, definitely order the Dragon Gate pay-per-view that's coming on September 4th of this year on pay-per-view. If you've never checked out Dragon Gate, I'm pretty sure since it's going to be the same company that handles the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, it's going to be probably pretty cheap. Don't know if it's going to be a 2 or 3 hour pay-per-view. I'm expecting it's going to be a 2-hour pay-per-view most likely, just like the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, since it's probably going to be the same price, between $10 to $15, which definitely is very affordable right there, especially for the action you're going to probably get from this Dragon Gate show. And yeah, that's it. Peace. USA Networks and Vince McMahon, they sent out press releases of the whole Donald Trump buying Monday Night Raw, and they made it seem so real within the, I guess, the press release, that a lot of media outlets picked up the story as it actually being Donald Trump actually purchased some part within WWE and not thinking, you know, this is a wrestling storyline. And that's really, you know, the fun videos. And now let me get into my thoughts. First, let me start with the WWE news. First thing being is after the whole Donald Trump thing this past Monday, I already gave my thoughts on it, what I thought about it. I thought it was idiotic, you know, ratings ploy. But the one thing that came pretty funny out of this whole thing is really priceless, that a lot of media outlets actually, I guess because of haven't heard of him, definitely check out his channel. I'll put the link in the description right over there. He makes good videos. Pretty much does wrestling videos. He's kind of going in a different direction right now. He's going to be doing like 1 or 2 wrestling videos a week, then other type of, you know, random videos like the video game reviews, talk about music and other stuff, and maybe current events and stuff like that. So definitely check him out. He makes good. This video right here, I'm going to be discussing Mr. Kennedy update, news on Dragon Gate signing a pay-per-view deal, which is definitely big news for me. Glad that's finally happened. Some WWE news with a little confusion between the media with the whole Donald Trump thing, him buying out Raw as far as a storyline purpose goes. Obviously gave my thoughts on that, but the whole media story, I just want to give my thoughts on that. And a couple other things with some wrestlers' thoughts on the whole Vicky Guerrero leaving WWE and how that was played off on TV. Hernandez will be returning soon, and a couple other things I'll probably throw in there as well. Before I get into that, I just want y'all to check out one YouTube user that makes very good videos, Cool Nerd 2736. Definitely, if you